Imagine having so much wealth that today's billionaires look poor in comparison. Not millions or billions. Fortunes so massive they could reshape history. Today, we're counting down the 13 richest people who ever lived. And number 1 will blow your mind. Their wealth was so vast, historians still argue how to measure it. You've heard of Bezos and Musk, but these people controlled riches that made them look like lemonade stand owners. Buckle up. We're diving into unimaginable fortunes. Cornelius Vanderbilt estimated wealth, $185 billion. Let's start with America's first transportation tycoon. Cornelius Vanderbilt built his empire on steamships and railroads in the 1800s. This guy started with nothing, literally borrowed money from his mother to buy a small ferry boat at age 16. By the time he died, he controlled most of the railroad lines in America. His wealth was so massive that when he died in 1877, he left $105 million to his son. That was more money than the U.S. Treasury had at the time. Think about that. One man had more cash than the entire United States government. The Vanderbilt name became synonymous with extreme wealth. Vanderbilt University? Yeah, he founded that. Those massive mansions in Newport, Rhode Island, his family built those as summer homes. Muammar Gaddafi estimated wealth, $200 billion. Now we enter controversial territory. Libya's dictator for 42 years, Gaddafi controlled a small nation with huge oil reserves. Instead of building wealth, he seized it, channeling Libya's oil profits into secret accounts worldwide. When he was overthrown in 2011, investigators uncovered real estate, gold, and investments across continents. The wild part: hidden accounts are still surfacing today, and his true fortune may never be known. Henry Ford estimated wealth, $200 billion. His Model T and revolutionary assembly line changed manufacturing forever. At his peak, Ford Motor produced half of all U.S. cars, entirely owned by Ford himself. His genius move? Paying workers $5 a day so they could buy the very cars they built. William the Conqueror estimated wealth, $230 billion. In 1066, William of Normandy invaded England and conquered the entire country. Back then, conquest meant ownership, land, castles, taxes, everything. He personally held about 20% of England. His Domesday Book recorded every asset in the nation, letting historians estimate his fortune. In modern terms, he controlled about 1/5 of England's entire economy. Mir Osman Ali Khan estimated wealth, $230 billion. The last Nizam of Hyderabad was so rich he used an 18-carat diamond as a paperweight. He owned countless Rolls-Royces and treasure vaults overflowing with cash and jewels. After India's independence in 1947, he even tried to make Hyderabad its own nation to keep his fortune. Time magazine named him the world's richest man in 1937. His jewelry alone worth hundreds of millions. Nikolai II of Russia estimated wealth, $300 billion. The last Tsar of Russia, Nicholas II, ruled the world's largest empire and personally controlled its vast wealth. Gold reserves, lands, and the royal treasury. The Romanovs lived in unimaginable luxury, with palaces lined in amber and gold. In 1917, the Bolsheviks executed the family and seized everything, though rumors of hidden Romanov gold persist to this day. Andrew Carnegie estimated wealth, $310 billion. Andrew Carnegie came to America with nothing and built the steel empire that shaped modern America. At his peak, Carnegie Steel produced more than all of Great Britain. In 1901, he sold it for $480 million, about $310 billion today, and spent the rest of his life giving it away, funding libraries, universities, and research. He lived by his own words: "The man who dies rich, dies disgraced." John D. Rockefeller estimated wealth, $340 billion, the man who turned oil into absolute power. At one point, he didn't just dominate the industry, he owned 90% of America's oil through Standard Oil. When the government tried to stop him by breaking it apart, he only grew richer. quietly controlling the pieces from the shadows. Those fragments became Exxon, Mobil, and Chevron giants that still shape the world today. He lived nearly a century, giving away fortunes to rewrite his legacy. But some say his influence never really ended. Jacob Fugger estimated wealth: $400 billion. You've probably never heard of Jacob Fugger, but in the 1500s, he controlled Europe from the shadows. He financed kings, emperors, even the Vatican itself. When the Catholic Church needed money, they came to him. Fugger didn't just influence power, he bought it, deciding who would rule the Holy Roman Empire. He once reminded Emperor Charles V that his throne existed only because of Fugger's gold. 5 centuries later, his family's fortune still endures a legacy built on money, power, and quiet control. Akbar, estimated wealth, $21 trillion. Emperor Akbar ruled an empire so vast it held a quarter of the world's wealth. From 1556 to 1605, India's richest textiles, spices, gems drew traders from every corner of the world. His palaces glittered with jewels, his peacock throne alone worth millions. But behind the splendor was power without limits, a ruler whose control over trade and treasure shaped generations. Even the Taj Mahal, built later by his bloodline, was born from Akbar's unimaginable wealth and influence. Emperor Shenzong of Song, estimated wealth, $30 trillion. In 1070, Emperor Shenzong ruled the richest civilization on Earth, a world powered by his command. The Song dynasty's inventions, paper money, gunpowder, the compass, reshaped history, but also bound nations to China's wealth. His empire forged more iron than the entire West would for centuries, and his taxes alone would equal trillions today. Through the Silk Road, gold and power flowed endlessly into his hands, a fortune so vast it defined empires yet to come. Augustus Caesar estimated wealth, $4.6 trillion. Augustus wasn't just Rome's first emperor, he owned Egypt itself. Its endless grain, gold, and trade riches flowed straight into his hands, making him master of a quarter of the empire's economy. While Rome ruled the known world, one man ruled Rome. His fortune was so vast, he could pay every citizen and still fund the empire for years, power and wealth on a scale humanity has rarely seen again. Mansa Musa, estimated wealth, literally incalculable. Mansa Musa, king of Mali, ruled from 1312 to 1337, the richest human in history, by a margin no one has ever approached. When he journeyed to Mecca, his generosity drowned nations in gold, collapsing Egypt's economy for a decade. Mali controlled half of the world's gold. Every coin in Europe, the Middle East, and North Africa traced back to his empire. He built mosques with bricks of gold, paid soldiers with golden staffs, and walked on palace floors that shimmered like the sun. To this day, his true fortune can't be measured, only feared for how much power one man held over the world's wealth.